What is up, guys? Fatal Storm here, and today I'm going to talk about my first fire. We have a little bit of Ground Branch playing in the background, so I hope you guys sit back, crack open a beverage of your choice, and enjoy the story. Everything said in this video is 100% true and hasn't been altered in any way. This is what I witnessed as a probationary firefighter, and the events transpired along with it. Location will not be given, the names of certain responding units will also be changed. Alright, before I get into the nitty-grittiness of the fire and the explanation, I want to go over some terminology that I will be using. So, let's say this is your house. Alright, your house. This is my top-of-the-line software, do not worry. I know, it's awesome, right? So you have your house here and everything. You got your trucks pulling in over here, so let's draw a fire truck. Fire truck, you know, wee woos, wee woo, and you know, the red. Let's say those are the flashing lights, whatever, you know, and they're driving towards the fire. The fire is over here, you know. You got flames shooting out the roof, a mixture of all this crud and bad stuff. When you are approaching a house, the front door of the house is considered your alpha side. Okay. The left side of the house is considered the Bravo side. The back of the house is considered the Charlie side, and the right side of the house is considered the Delta side. Now, I've been told that whatever side is facing the street, usually the front door, hence the arrows, my perfectly drawn arrows in this scenario, that is your alpha side. When you are first making your call over the radio, your size up, your scene size up. So let's say now we have firefighters outside looking at the place. They're going to say something along the lines of, we have flames showing from Bravo Charlie corner, let's say, even though I know it's in the Charlie Delta corner. So Charlie Delta this corner. Okay, so let me fix myself on that one. Let's say Charlie Delta corner. We got flames showing Delta Charlie corner, and you got smoke showing as well along with it. No matter what side the fire is going in, sometimes people have to make entry through the alpha side, of course. So picture it like it's a compass, north, east, south, west. Never eat soggy waffles. Never eat soggy waffles, okay? So when you look at a house, picture it as, you know, a compass, northeast, southwest. And then we're also going to get into floors, like first floor, second floor. But the floors are going to be considered your divisions. So instead of the first floor, it's Division 1. Instead of your second floor, it's considered your Division 2. Like I said, I love my handwriting so much. So that's a brief explanation of how this is going to go, and hope you enjoy. The date is December 10th, 2021 at 5:40 a.m. I remember I was in my bunk, and someone's alarm continued to go off in the bunk room, and it kept me awake. It was one of those, you know, regular iPhone alarms that goes, you know, really annoying. Hated it with a passion. But at the time I didn't mind because I knew I had to get up and get ready for work at 7:30 a.m. And I usually get up at 6 and I'm out the door by 6:30 and I'm at work. At my station, we work from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. and are allowed to sleep at the station. Most people tend to think that we stay up all night waiting for a fire, but instead we sit around, work out, train, watch movies, and eat dinner before bed. The tones dropped, making me jump out of my bed and on the wagon. Control stated, control being dispatch for other people. Control stated that it was a structure fire. As I was on the wagon, I originally thought that it was a kitchen fire or an electric heater, because that's been a common thing in different areas, not our areas. We rarely get a fire. That's a sad thing. Or not the sad thing, that's a good thing, in my opinion. As we pulled into the driveway, I saw flames shooting out the roof, and it set me back quite a bit. This was the first time I've seen, you know, flames just out there, you know. I've seen fire before, but I haven't seen anything of this capacity, hence this is why this is my first fire. Funny enough, I texted my boss before it happened, or before we even like got off the wagon. I was like, hey, I'm gonna be late and here's why. And I took a photo and he was like, all right, stay safe, you know. Great boss. Keep in mind that the flame shooting out the roof, it was a two-story wood-sided house, wood panel house, wood frame, all that. Everything out was made of wood. The engine was the first on scene, then the wagon, and then the second due stations also arrived. Immediately, we had to set up a water supply. Closest hydrant was a mile or two down the road, and the second due station decided to provide water from their truck while they tried to set up a drop tank. I wasn't a certified firefighter at the time, so I wore a black helmet, while the certified firefighters wear a yellow helmet. I got off the wagon and saw the owners of the house leaving in their station wagon. They also had their dog in the back seat. Thank God. I mean, I love animals so much. I would not want to see anything bad happen to these animals. And I trip and fall right in front of them. I was holding a flashlight, one of those scene lighting lights, getting ready to set it up, and I just trip and fall right in front of them. And it was very embarrassing. I hated it. Like, it was one of those moments where I was like, I don't understand how it happened. Like, I've been doing this for almost a year now, and I've tripped and fall. Never tripped and fell in front of them. And as I got back up and I started moving towards the house, I tripped and fall a second time. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what is going on? Like, I never stumbled this bad. Since I was a black helmet, I was tasked with pulling the 3-inch hose off the back of the engine and connect it to the wagon. The wagon was going to pump water to the engine for the time being until the second due stations finally get their connection ready to connect to the wagon, which will then pump to the engine, which will then pump to the hoses to put out the fire, obviously, of course, for people that don't know. At this point, the house is fully engulfed. I have photos of it. Cannot provide the photos, obviously, for safety reasons, county reasons. Because the minute I start posting those photos and the fire marshal gets involved, I know it's been about a year now since this happened, but I can't take that risk currently. The units inside the building actually claim that the floor got spongy, and that's not a good thing because the floor is ready to collapse, and the house did collapse. The second division, which is the second floor, collapsed down to the first division on the Alpha Bravo sides. I'm moving back and forth between the engine and wagon, making sure that all units had what they needed. Then my sergeant asked for me to get on the nozzle. One, the paid staff was pumping at a higher PSI than what I was used to, and I struggled to properly hold the nozzle. I don't know the exact PSI. I can't remember it off the top of my head. But I decided that I was going to do the method where you just sit on the nozzle with your one leg and wrap it through your ankle and shoot through the window, and it was going to bounce off the ceiling and hit the fire. But after that, seeing that I wasn't doing anything, I stand up and try to push towards the bulk of the fire. A captain from the second due station noticed what I was doing and says, and I quote, "You're not doing much from back there. Go on and get up there," you know? And keep in mind, the PSI was well above what I was used to, as I stated previously. And it was kicking me. He just goes, "Here, let me help you." And he grabs the back of my coat and literally like lifts me up. Like I felt like my feet just levitate for a second and throws me to the window. The smoke was pillowing out and hitting me in the face. I'm not wearing an SCBA mask, rebreather oxygen mask, for people that need to get an understanding of it. Because as a black helmet, you're not allowed to wear one. You're not even allowed to go interior. This was the closest you could be to the interior as possible. The heat was prominent, and I had to lasso the hose. Like fling that hose around in a lasso motion in order to put out the bulk of the fire. The fire spread through the first division, if I remember correctly, and the house, since it was under construction, the basement was getting rebuilt. A lot of exposed wood and installation caught fire and spread through. Plus, they had a storage in the Charlie Delta corner. No, Bravo Charlie corner. It was like full of papers, newspapers, all these magazines that they saved. And the house wasn't standing by the end of it, sadly. at this point we were just soaking it just to make sure that it doesn't rekindle. Basically, it was ruined. It was a sad sight. It was a nice house when we first pulled up too. It was later discovered by our fire marshal after he conducted an investigation that a wood fire stove that was in the basement caught fire, and a smoke detector alerted the family, and thankfully they evacuated shortly after, hence why we saw him in the station wagon. The family was displaced and decided to live with family members who lived close by, and a GoFundMe was created to help with the damages. That's how close our community was, or our community is. We're a small station. We're at the base of this mountain, and we cover everything up, and then everything else is our second due, our third due. I'm not bragging about this fire whatsoever. This was really an eye-opening experience. It was a learning experience for everyone. There were some people that thought that they were ready to get up in there, and once when they felt that floor spongy, they kicked out. Not kicked out, but they fell back immediately, and that was good for them because they're safe now. I learned on that fire that even though I thought I was calm, I truly wasn't, hence why I tripped twice. And seeing that fire made me want to earn my yellow helmet even more, because I wanted to be the guy that, finally gets up there and does more work than just, going back and forth. And I'm happy to say that on New Year's Eve, I received the results saying that I passed Fire 1. It was quite a fire, obviously. It was one of those fires where you talked about it for the rest of the year, rest of the month. I went to work soon after, and it was 4 o'clock when I finally got off that fire. Or no, it was 3 o'clock, and then I had a paper to do, and that was pretty bad. And I had to go to work soon after. And I went to work, and I explained everything. They thought it was crazy. I'm pretty sure it still smelled like smoke. I'm pretty sure I shouldn't have worked. Guys, my fellow viewers, this is why having a proper working smoke detector is important. Had they not been alerted, then who knows what would have happened, and I don't even want to think of it. Thankfully, I haven't seen anything that bad, and I pray, never to see anything that bad. Sadly, they had a parakeet in the house, and it passed away. But with that was my first fire. Obviously, as I stated, an eye-opening experience, and I will never forget it. I'll never forget the meal that we had afterwards at the station. We all sat down, ate together, and explained what happened. We went next shift, and we had a meeting about it. Definitely those moments after the fire's put out and everything's taken care of, you feel extra close with your fellow firefighters, and I'm just glad I got to experience it with them. So with that, everyone, if you like this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, share it amongst your friends. If you want to hear more stories like this, let me know in the comments. I definitely have a few more to go. I have some funny ones. I have some exhilarating ones. I have some ones where a lot of coincidences happen. So I'll catch you in the next one. And with that, this is Fatal Storm, signing off.